Good morning, everyone. We are live. I forgot that we have an intro and we could play it. Damn it! all the work wasted. All the work wasted.
Use it as the outro, Marcin.
Yes, that's an idea. Hello, everyone. We are in an unusual setup today, so I will let you all introduce yourself then. Callum, what's your desk setup today?
I don't have a desk, but I'm at Umbraco HQ in Denmark, and no one else is here.
Oh, that's it.
Except for me.
Except Runa.
I'm also here, not at my desk, but next to Callum, which is pretty fantastic.
Cool. And we are also joined by Julia and Mats. Let's introduce yourself, if people still don't know who you are. Julia?
Yeah, so I'm Julia. I'm a front-end developer at Umbraco, and I'm sitting in quite close to you, Marcin, because in Poland, in my former childhood room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'm Mads, front-end developer at Umbraco, and I'm just right outside of Odense in Denmark. And today I'm from my oldest son's room.
Oh, that's beauty of remote work. So, Callum, what are you doing in Denmark? Tell us.
Well, of course. So yesterday was the Umbraco DK festival, an in-person event, the first in a very long time, for me at least, and it was great. So yeah, we were in Aarhus since Wednesday, and we had lots of drinks and lots of socializing and some great talks yesterday too. I learned loads of Danish because the entire event was in Danish, except for my talk and I think Jeffrey's talk as well. But yeah, it was good, very good.
Nice. I had one community question raised earlier. Did the car got flipped?
The car in the wine bar.
Yes.
This wine bar was the weirdest place. It's a wine bar, but they sell really expensive jumpers, and they have a car in the middle. And we did discuss, could the car be flipped? And would that be quite a funny thing to do? But I don't think the owner of the wine bar would be too pleased. And I think it was a prize to give away to someone. So it was discussed. It didn't happen.
Yeah, I think it would be a good proof that people were just hungry for social events, for in-person events, and nothing will be wrong. But yeah, it looks amazing from the outside, and there were a lot of familiar faces from the community. Any key takeaways? Philip was doing the keynote, right? And probably the first keynote.
The words Callum and umbraCoffee were mentioned, and that's all I understood, because the rest was in Danish. To be fair, the slides were in English, and it's, I guess, the things that are going to be that were covered are kind of what we're going to talk about today. There's a lot of product updates coming. 8.9.1 is coming. 8.9.1? 8.18 is coming. 9.1 is in release candidate, and there was some talks about what's going to happen with V10 and what the plan is for .NET. ASP.NET Core 6 and those things. So no surprises for sure.
No surprise. Amazing, yeah. So we'll be discussing more upcoming events, of course, at the end of this live stream. But as we have Rune here, we can probably jump to another topic, which is Umbraco product update. And Rune, for the first time probably since a long time, you can directly deliver this product update to our viewers. So feel free to brief us to this update recently.
Yeah, sure. I think the first item there we can skip ahead because Julia and Mats will be going into the UI library release, which is incredibly exciting, as we'll all see in a bit. But next week is going to be a massive week. We had some patches released this week, small ones, a few bugs fixed. Always good if you're on CMS or forums to know. But next week is going to be massive, as we have the first minor for Umbraco 9 coming out. It's actually got a really big, quite big new feature, which is what's now called history cleanup, which I think a lot of people have thought should be in core for quite a while. There's been the unversioned package which help clean up old revisions of content items, right? Which currently are just filling up the database. Every time you hit save, you create a new revision of a document. And
every property on that. So if you've got the grid with huge amounts of JSON, you get exponentially more and more JSON in your database. Even if you've not changed that property.
Exactly. And just by you could say kind of working on new content items, like I work as an editor in Umbraco quite a lot these days, and I probably save, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 times when I'm creating a blog post, right? Because I'm previewing stuff and then you're adding images and you want to make sure that everything's correct, right? That's quite a lot of superfluous data in the database, right? So having the ability to automatically clean this up, so it's running on a daily schedule, will clean up old versions. And there's policies you can set. So how long do you want to keep versions around? How many do you want to keep, and things like that.
So it's exactly the experience we had with Unversion, just in core.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah,
and with UI features here, right? That's something what probably is changing, because previously it was all based on the configuration, right? And now it has some more UI visibility, and it's easier for even editors to set it up by themselves.
Yeah. That's the stuff on document types where you can set policies for individual document types, which is really useful. That'll of course override the stuff you've got in your config. And then I think we have some breaking news because it is mentioned in the product update, but pinning versions with a very nice UI will be part of 9.1 as well. So you can go into your revision history, and then if there's a specific version that you don't want to be cleaned up, you want to keep around, you can pin that. I don't know, maybe we can get Matt to show it off if we're lucky. I don't think we even prepped that, but it looks really nice. It also means that the rollback view has been cleaned up.
I mean, that's not changed in 10 years, has it?
No. Beautiful drop down feature and comparison. Oh, that will be a really nice.
For any curious, I think we should say we're sorry we should have put out an RC2, because there's actually a new feature to the new feature in the final version. But I think people can live with it.
We've got Paul in the chat saying, "Yep, it looks like it's going to be part of I keep saying 9.1. Yeah, which is awesome.
It's fantastic.
And
then there's a ton of other stuff in it. I think there's something like 60 Hacktoberfest pull requests already in this version out of 80 something or 90 something issues in the release, or PRs in the release, and it's almost half of all the pull requests we got in Hacktoberfest are already going to be part of Umbraco next week. So I think that's pretty cool.
Amazing, and most of them from Soren, I think. Most, but a large number.
We discussed at some point calling this the Soren release. We had the chat release before, but this one will be the Soren release, or the Kota release, or something like that.
Awesome. And besides, of course, 9.1, there are some upcoming releases of the products with the release candidates still going and being under tests, right?
Yeah, exactly. Both Forms and Deploy will have, there's actually 4 releases. So there's 2 Umbraco Deploy releases and 2 Umbraco Forms releases. And that's because we're releasing for both Umbraco 9 and Umbraco 8. And there's feature parity there, so anyone on 8 won't be left behind in terms of our add-on packages.
And again, maybe I'm not supposed to say this, but Philip told me yesterday that, or maybe it was Bjarke, that the 8.18 release coming up will also have feature parity with 9.1. So the version cleanup stuff is going into 8.18 as well. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, it's to the extent where it makes sense, right? Because there is some stuff that is kind of more .NET Core focused, where it doesn't make sense to add those things. That's mostly plumbing stuff, under the hood stuff. But everything else is pretty much going to be on par when 8.18 releases. We still don't have an ETA for that, but So I think there's a lot of Umbraco 8 installations out there, and I think it makes sense to give them a big final release with all the features in there. And like history cleanup was also announced for Umbraco 8.
Yeah.
So shifting that over to 9 is not right. It's not quite fair.
Do we have an ETA on 8.18 yet?
No. The last talk I heard about it was like around the new year. So I could imagine it'll probably be in the beginning of the new year.
Exciting.
But it depends on like how much stuff we need to get in there and get reviewed. There'll have to be a cutoff at some point, but yeah. So we're just taking our time, making sure that it's a good and solid release.
And something what also caught my attention on this update, of course, is the new section in the next roadmap area. And you've mentioned this ASP.NET Core 6 on the horizon, so it landed in the roadmap as well. And I think this also has a nice reminder that with this new release cadence of Umbraco versions, the expected V10 is just also around the corner, right? And that's exciting as well.
Yeah, looking at end of or sometime in Q2, probably. I know there's some kind of event going on in Q2, Umbraco event, so it might be around there. Who knows? That would line up perfectly, right? But yeah, it might sound weird and a little bit scary that Umbraco 10 is just around the corner, but it is just another Umbraco release. It's more like a minor than it was before, right?
One of the highlights from talking with Bjarke yesterday and Nikolai after their talk, they did a talk on V9, was what's next? And they said the only thing actually that's planned right now for V10, okay, maybe a few breaking changes, but the only thing is that .NET 6 and ASP.NET Core 6 upgrade, and it's not even defined yet what's involved in any of that work. So I guess the scope for V10 is still kind of a bit open, and the expectation isn't that it will launch necessarily new features.
No.
So I mean, it's much more like a minor release in the grand scheme of things.
And that's how it should be. Of course, there will be some of the major releases that will be. I don't know what we call them now. Major majors.
Real majors.
Because we have a new back office on the horizon at some point, right? And that'll of course be a major release, because that will be a breaking change, and that'll be a major because it's going to shift a lot of things around. But hopefully, a lot of the majors we'll see will be things like framework updates, which should be fairly easy to do, and then breaking changes in the APIs and things like that, which hopefully also are manageable to a large extent, right? So it should be easy to upgrade through the majors for the most part. And then one of the important things is also that some of them will be LTS releases, of course, aligned with the .NET LTS releases. So hopefully it makes a lot of sense in terms of that as well.
For sure. And you're sticking with this release cadence of every 6 months having a major. I mean, if it's Q2, that will be a little bit longer than this, but yeah, basically sticking to the idea that we should have a major version twice a year.
Yeah, and I think we probably could release Umbraco 10 in a couple of weeks. Because the upgrade to ASP.NET Core 6 and .NET 6 is, I mean, you can run .NET 6.
Yeah, and it came out in general availability this week, in fact.
Yeah, it's more that we think it's too early to do a new major release, right? So we're waiting with it, but there's really no reason why we couldn't do it. And then after that, we're going to be a lot closer to the framework updates, right? So when there's a new framework out, there'll be a new Umbraco major out.
And one of the fantastic things with the way .NET Framework, but the .NET platform now runs is that I can run Umbraco 9 right now on .NET 6, and I have been doing it on my machine, and it's absolutely fine. It's backwards compatible, so there's not going to be a problem with running it. It's just, do you support all of the latest and greatest things that are available in that? Do you target
feature 10 stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
just probably most of the testing, if everything works or anything needs to be replaced or swapped. And I literally also placed the link to the blog post from Microsoft side about announcing .NET 6, because of course this was announced this week, and I think everyone who is curious about what's new there, but in general the highlight of the fastest .NET yet describes it all. Yes, describes it all. I saw some benchmarks and some really nice comparisons and charts. Great announcements, great improvements, a lot of great stuff in it. And as you've said already, it's just easy to upgrade, easy to test, and Umbraco is going to do it and release the next version, hopefully whenever it will be all tested and proved. But I'm already excited. It's not it's not something what will change that much, but still speed is a thing right now, and we all know how important it is to run it faster, more efficient, and cheaper in overall, because then it will mean that we can really spin it up on smaller machines and use it more efficient ways of Umbraco. Exciting stuff. So yeah, link will be down below the video for all the backend .NET interested people to check it out if you have missed it, because that was really probably the biggest announcement from Microsoft side this week from the conference. And we can probably swap from backend to frontend then, as we have two great frontend team members here with us. Rune, you've mentioned the UI library. We've been also announcing the release of it. So can you tell us more about it then? Do you want to show it, what it does, what's the final state of it, and what we can do with it? That would be awesome, probably, to see it in action.
All right. So it is out, and you can use it. It's not. We have how many? Around 20 components now. There we can take a look. How do I share my screen?
Do you want? Okay. Yeah, I've added your screen right now.
There it is. So the first point of contact with the UI library, it's the storybook, and it's like a special kind of app where you can just go through all of them. So here in this sidebar, we have a list of all the components that are now released. It's around 20. And the cool thing is that all of them have these stories here that showcase each use case of it. So you can go through it and see how they look in the different states. For example, checkbox with an error. There are also these interactive controls here. That's also a pretty cool feature of Storybook. So we can dynamically change all this stuff here, all the properties of the component. Yeah, so this is all real time, very nice. There is also a lovely docs type, which has a tiny bug. It displays an object for now, but there it is. So it comes with yes, it's fixed. It's not our bug, but if you ever encounter this, just click it twice and it won't be there anymore. But it comes with code examples and pretty nice description of all the components' public API. So we have all the properties that we can set. We have their type. We have corresponding attributes if they are different than the name of the property itself. And yes, object, go away, please. And all the code examples of different use cases. So this is pretty cool. What else?
I think it's worth just like looking back at like when I started at Umbraco was just after Umbraco 7 and the AngularJS back office was released, and there was. Ever since then, there's been a lot of talk about how nice it would be to have a style guide. I know we're not supposed to say style guide, but I'll say it anyway. A sort of style guide that shows the different components of the back office and also have good documentation for it, which, I mean, it has improved over the years. But this is perfect, right? It is a style guide. You can look at how everything looks, and you can play around with it if you want to customize it to your own needs. And then all the documentation is there as well, built directly from the source code.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's fantastic.
of course, there's the back office UI docs that have existed since Bell for the V7 UI came out, but they are, I think, a bit of a mess. It's fair to say they're a dumping ground of just directives and services with some
and
kind of documentation.
They don't show you how things actually look in the back office,
exactly.
Right? Which I think is also a major part of it.
And nothing's standardized. You know, you'll have one place where the text of the component is called label, and another place it's called name. And I guess the process that you've gone through here is properly defining what these components are and do and look like.
So another cool thing I would like to show you here is that we've put a lot of effort into making all of these components accessible out of the box. But on top of that, in Storybook, so we run the accessibility tests in the code base itself, but there's also the accessibility tests in the Storybook. So if for some reason you want an avatar that is black, you can set it here. And then you can learn that you fail one test because there's not enough contrast here.
That's nice.
So
kind of hard to see the text.
This is pretty cool. Now it's passed, then it was incomplete before. So that's a pretty cool thing. There are also some nice tools that can that's black and white now, so it's not going to be that that effective, but you can test them by yourself. These are the vision that if you don't see colors properly, so
right, yeah,
colorblind people.
Yeah, so it's going to simulate.
That's nice.
All these color disabilities. I don't. Sorry if I'm. But yeah, that's how it looks like. There are some. Oh, let's take this off. There are some other interesting things here. But that's the first place where you can really come in contact with those components.
I have one front-end newbie question, as I'm not related with front-end completely. Is it possible to export it and use it somehow in the front-end designs? How it can be? Because I believe that storybooks can be somehow placed within the, I don't know, Figma designs or stuff like that, right? How it works these days? We
didn't explore that option yet. It seems like it doesn't really work out of the box that way. That you can.
If I want to take it as a puzzles and build my UI right now of the package, right? That would be something what I know some of the tools has, and probably there is a way. There must be a way, but it would be really interesting to as you saw. That's amazing. Everyone can code it ourselves and then just export it or use it somewhere in the designs for, I don't know, maybe demos, client demos and stuff like that.
But you're a second person to ask for that, so maybe.
It's
going to be a
feature request.
At some point, maybe Mads, it was you. Someone had an XD prototype. Maybe it was either Mads or Niels. I think had an XD prototype with a few visual components in it for reuse. And I think the community built one as well in Figma. Or similar.
I think we also had a sketch at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had it for many of the apps, but it was something that you made on your own when you needed those building blocks. So I totally think it would make sense to at some point look into having all of the UI components as Sketch components or Figma components or what you use.
But I think in order for that to really make sense, I think it should be something that's built from the components into Sketch or XD or whatever it is, right? Because I don't think we necessarily want to add another project where we have to maintain a Sketch file.
You need a single source of truth, don't you? And
yeah, exactly.
It's clearly been decided here.
There are add-ons. Sorry. I just checked. There are add-ons to Figma and Storybook, so it can be integrated somehow. That's exactly, having single place where you can update it and manage it, and then everyone can use it or update, pull it from some package repository or however it works. It's something what would be extremely useful, I think. And, I quickly checked. There are connectors.
It's a good idea, and I think if there's something that needs to be like small changes that needs to happen in order to facilitate that, I think that's definitely something we can look at, right? If that means that we can then export to Figma or whatever it is really easily, I think that would make a ton of sense.
Pasted a link.
If anyone knows how to do it, then you are welcome to make PRs, of course, to the repository that I can show.
It's also open source, so just go and play, try it out.
Yes, exactly. Try it out.
I'm raising these questions publicly. I hope that someone knows how to do it. So that
you have to add an issue. We have 4 of them, or you can start a discussion.
I will put the link which I found as a part of the discussion, and we can probably have it there. But that's interesting topic to raise.
And if you are interested on what's the code behind the components, then we have them in a monorepo setup. So each component is a separate package here. And you can just, that's a story, but you can just go and check. These are all lit components, web components, of course, so custom elements. So all of them have scoped styles. Nothing leaks out and nothing goes in except CSS custom properties. And what else I can say?
Maybe I can ask another question.
Yes.
I remember our first discussion about when you were working on this component library. Was there something probably more challenging than the other components for you as a team, Mats, Julia? It was something what you've really spent a lot of time fixing either the accessibility issues or forcing the challenges of the specific component, because it's not that easy as it looks like all the time, right?
I think we've spent the most challenging thing was to actually set up the repository in this setup that all the components are separately versioned. So if you go to NPM and look them up, you will see that the button is version 0.1 point something, and the rest is totally different. So that was quite hard to set up, I think.
Versioning again.
Yes, they will all. They are all not yet now, but from version 1.0, they will be semantically versioned. So there will be no breaking changes in minor versions. For now, it's still below 1, so we can break anything we want whenever we want. But it's a good thing because we want the community and anyone to help us create the API for each component that is easy to use and friendly and familiar, or however. This is why they are released not yet in stable state.
Yeah, and we went with the separate packages because then if you need something for your own project, then you can pick exactly the components you only need for that project and don't include the entire UI bundle. So if you're using the input and the button, then you can take those 2 versions, and if we find a bug in one of those, we can ship a fix to that specific component when it's done. So you will probably see releases going out quickly for the UI library. So when something is fixed, we ship a new version of that specific one, and then we will include a bundle for the back office at some point, which will follow the semantic versioning of the back office.
So
yes,
you described the plans already. Yeah, sorry, Rene?
Yeah, that'll only get updated when Umbraco is updated, right? So you won't see your button get upgraded in your back office or whatever out of band with the CMS releases. That would be a bit weird. Maybe
in one day, front end completely decoupled from back end servers and stuff like that. That can be possible to replace it. But yeah, you've already answered a little bit about my next question, because it was about the future. What's next? What the stage the project is in now, and what are the next steps with it? Do you still need some, tests, feedback, help? Basically, how you plan to work on it right now, from now after release.
Yeah, so as Julia mentioned, currently all the packages are in version 0. Something, which means that we are still changing things, and we will still want to be able to break some things. And when we think that when we think that it's ready to release version 1, it will be included in the back office at some point. So right now, we hope that the community will look at all the packages and try and install them in their own, play around with them, tell us what are they doing well, what are they missing, so we can get all of those things fixes as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And Julia, do you have a link?
Yeah, sorry.
Do you have a link for the Npm repositories, or?
Yes, I can have a link for Npm repositories. So if you want to...
I think I wanted to just highlight the great blog post from Julia, right? It was released last week when the first mention about the UI component was. I don't know, Julia, if the link is there, or it can be found by visiting some of the links from the blog post.
I think it is there if you scroll down somewhere. I don't remember for sure if it's there, but it should be somewhere above the installation, I think.
There are some imports and links to the bundled package.
Yes, the bundled package, I think it's even before, but if you want to install them, you can either go to the repository there on GitHub. In the README on the front page, we have a really nice table with links to different READMEs for the components, and there you can find the name of the package and the npm command, or a CDN link, because you can also use them through CDN. And if not, you can always go to npm and type at umbraco-ui. That's the namespace for all our packages, and then you're going to get all of them. So if you click on avatar group or avatar or whichever, then it's gonna get you. It's gonna get you to the README with all the proper commands.
Nice.
And I think it's worth mentioning also
so it's all there. That's.
It's worth mentioning that when we say include in the back office, in the beginning, it's actually only the components are going to be bundled with the back office, but it's not going to be the entire back office that's using the components, right? Because we want to make it possible for package authors to start implementing these. And I probably think you want to start switching things out in the back office as well, right, Julia and Ness? Like slowly switching these things out and start using the components.
So currently we don't have any plans to start switching our own back office. We would rather start building the new thing when we get to that point. But we will of course make it possible for package authors and everybody else building Umbraco sites or back office extensions, that they can build them in a modern way that will also work in the new back office. But when that is said, I couldn't help myself to actually try swapping out some of the current components. So if you want to see a demo of that, then I can show you that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Please share it. I'm adding your monitor to the screen, and we should all see it. Yeah.
Cool. Let me know if I need to zoom in a bit. So I wanted to test out how this actually worked with AngularJS, and it works. Custom elements works really good with AngularJS. So what you're going to see is quite close to what we are used to when building backup extensions. So right here, I'm in the user section, and I swapped out a couple of elements. And some places I've placed them next to each other, and somewhere I've swapped out the entire element. And in this case, it's the tabs up here. That's a new UI component. I put two avatars next to each other. The left one is the old one, the right one is the new one. Then I have this input field, and we can go into the code details in some of these examples so you can see what we need to change to make it work afterwards. Then we have the input field, that's a new one. Down here, we have the old breadcrumbs next to the new breadcrumbs. And over here, we have the two buttons. The left one is the current button, and the right one is the new UUI button.
It's wonderfully anticlimactic.
Yeah, they're just exactly the same.
Yeah.
And this demo will be very.
They are not. They're similar.
It's a good thing.
And if you click the new button, it will update. It will do the same thing, and it will actually work in the back office. And even the code changes. Isn't that fun? Because it looks very much the same. So for the button, this is the ump button. What's different here is that we are used to in Angular that we have callbacks where we can call a method, or then we set a style, which is success style. We can have a state which shows whether it's a spinning state or a success state. Underneath, there's the new UUI button. What we need to get used to for the new components is that we listen to events instead of callbacks. So for doing that in Angular, you can use ng-on, and then any event that the component is emitting. In this case, it's a click event, so we can call the save method when that happens. Other than that, it looks pretty much the same. It's called look for all new UUI buttons, how they look. In this case, it's positive instead of success. Then we can have the state almost the same, and we have a label which says what the button should type in. And one of the things that we work on for the new UI is that they also work as part of a normal form. So you can use the type submit as part of a button, and then it will actually make the form emit the submit event. So you can use this inside of Angular form like this, and put ng submit, and that would just work the way you're used to with the current button.
But this is not released yet.
That's true.
But
I'm on an internal.
We are in the future now. We're in the future already. So.
Yes, like we are a few days from now. I think.
That looks amazing, and it even looks like the transition and migration will be even easy for all of the package maintainers who might use the old version or the old way to swap it easily and just port some code from here to there, and it will work and behave with the new amazing test coverage and states which probably are not that much covered in the previous versions, right, from the past.
Yeah, and if they start using the web components, then the switch to the new back office, the new API will also be less painful. Mm-hmm. So it is a way of making it a little bit more gradual for package authors, even though they're not being used in the back office yet. They can start using it for packages, which I think is good, because we know there's a really big task for especially some of the larger packages out there. So trying to be as mindful as possible of that journey, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just to show you the last example here, I've made a table of the users underneath. So this one is the current table in the back office, and the one below is a UUI table. It uses a UUI checkbox. It uses the UUI avatar, and the UUI tag. And I didn't have to do too much to wire it up. And when you use it inside AngularJS, all the double data binding that we are used to actually works as you would expect.
It's awesome. I'm intrigued because here it's obviously visually slightly different in a few places. Yeah. And I guess that makes lots of sense. It's just not what I was anticipating. So what do we foresee when we start encouraging package devs to say move over to this? Are we going to have people using the UUI components and then maybe bits of the back office using the embedded components that may look visually slightly different, or there'll be an alignment before that happens?
So yeah, we had to make a little some slight visual updates. Many of them are because of accessibility. So we improved the colors to support better accessibility, and I guess for a period of time there will be a small slightly different in the visuals.
But then the experiences will be consistent. If you're within a package that's using the UUI library, it will look like that, and maybe the bits of core that don't get updated won't look like that straight away. But it's not going to be jarring.
And I think you really notice it now where I have them next to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if this one has been missing,
yeah,
I guess that.
Yeah, it looks normal.
They're fairly close.
Yeah.
But I think what you've Rune mentioned that about this long-term turn into using the centralized ways of handling stuff is exciting the most for me, because everything what is consistent is better. And we already talked about it here on umbraCoffee before, that some of the packages were looking native, right, as a Umbraco bundle, and now they can be native exactly, and it's like having the same ways, the same components across the packages will make integrations and external packages look and feel more Umbraco, even more than previously.
Yeah, and who knows if someone wants to maybe make a pull request or start updating the current colors in the back office so they're more accessible. At least in those cases, that might be something worth doing, right? Which will align the old and new components as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do it. Maybe. Or we need to announce another Hacktoberfest, Jantoberfest or anything like that. So yeah.
Hacktoberfest.
We'll talk about names soon as well, because Sebastian is looking for help with the names, right? So yeah, thanks for this demos. I think we all needed to see it, and you just proved that it's not hard to think about swapping things or building the new components based just on top of them.
We'll of course Julia had an app as well.
Yes, I have a very tiny app built out of the components. It's a to-don't app. So we can type that we don't want to eat cake before dinner, or swear in front of grandma. Yes, it's very simple, but this is built entirely with UUI library. This is also one big web component. I don't know if you can see my code here or not.
No.
Or do I have to swap? Yes.
Yes, this is built entirely outside of the back office, right?
Yes, this is built entirely out of the back office, and yet still it looks kind of like stuff you can find in the back office. So what do we have here? So this is how you would import them outside of the back office. Here we import each component separately to the file, and then we can just use them like that.
And what are you using here for? Because you have obviously had some reactivity there where things were adding in the back office. We've got AngularJS. What are you using here?
So here we are using this decorator called property that sets up reactive property that comes from lit. It's a little base class, tiny web components framework that we use to build all of the elements. It's very friendly to use. Also because of these decorators. So whenever we reassign this to don'ts property, then the app will re-render itself. And here we just run map on this array and return a template for each of them. So it's very close to, there's no magic here except this little HTML function. But this is also
I would say if you're a backender, it looks like a magic, you know.
Oh, okay. But my point is that this is all very close to JavaScript.
Yeah, there's no frameworks in there.
JavaScript.
Yeah, yes. Lit is being used in the component library already, so it's a, as you say, very lightweight dependency. You've not got React or Vue or anything like that in here. Literally purely using what the UI library gives you, which is awesome.
And that is one thing to be aware of when using inside the current back office and AngularJS. So if you're using the input field, you have to listen for the input event and update the value yourself, so you don't get that double data binding out of the box. You have to add that listener manually.
Yeah. It reminded me at times when I was building a dashboard for Umbraco, managing Umbraco data, but outside of Umbraco back office, and how easier it would be right now with this set of components, because then it was extracting CSS, grabbing JavaScript, making similar behavior, because you cannot do the same behavior without, for example, Angular previously, and here it seems like it's a lot easier. And I think more of these use cases will pop out, hopefully, right? Because people will start use it and do it instead of block themselves with time required to make it work.
And it also shows how like it'll be quite easy for us to start using this, for example, in the Umbraco Cloud portal, right? So we can align the look and feel of Umbraco across all the places where it's being used, maybe on some of the websites as well. It can make sense to implement it there. And it is, as it's just web components and they're already starting all of this, it's actually quite easy to start throwing in there. And it'll constantly update along with the UI library across all the platforms, which is, it sounded like magic when we started talking about this project, but like we can, it's here, right? And it's working.
And the next time Umbraco decides to change the color of its logo, for example, or the brand colors, I guess we'll get new versions of components and we update them, and you're all good. That's awesome.
Cool. So yeah, let's test it. Let's use it, and hopefully, community will also help you to keep you busy on new components and extracting them. Plus, you didn't mention it, but it was said previously that it's easy to extend components, right? So to use the basic behavior of the component and extend it for, let's say, own custom crazy integration or crazy extension of the component. So everyone can also extend, and it might be a driver for sharing custom Umbraco components, or I don't know, marketing suite components or things like that. That's just a
good example. The blog post of that. I think the blog post Julia wrote.
Oh yes, that's going to be, of course, linked to the episode. So it was great description of everything what it can do.
We can show one more thing here with the extension that instead of importing the whole component with the registration side effect, there is you have to register the custom element to make it work. You can also import just the class that it is based on, and then register your own component with this class extended, and it's still going to work. You can then still use lit in there with add your own reactive properties and so on. Oh my gosh,
Nice.
great.
Inception. So yeah, I think here a big kudos again for releasing it, and congratulations for completing the launch.
No,
it's not. Yeah, we know that it's not there yet.
The project is not complete, but we have.
I'm working in IT industry for years, and I haven't seen a complete project yet. So that's
it's
life.
open for collaboration now. Right?
Of course.
Yes, and there's a whole folder in the repository. That's the source folder, SRC folder, where we have components that we've partially done and are not yet released. So there you can just go and check out what's already a work in progress thing.
How many components are left?
How many are left there? Oh, but there's quite a lot of them. I counted them once, but I forgot how many. But around 30, I think. Not all of them make total sense separately. Some of them are parts of bigger components, but there's quite a lot of stuff there that we have developed. So they will also gradually be added to the release. And for now, if I can say it again, just take them, install them, or paste the CDN link to whatever you're working, and just take a look on how it feels to use those things. Maybe we can also paste the link to the web, which is very simple example on how.
Is that on your GitHub or something?
Yes, it's on my GitHub, and I'm gonna send you a link.
We'll make sure that link's in the description.
Yeah. I think you ended the blog post with "hack the heck out of them."
Yes,
that's a pretty good phrase.
Yes, yes. So this is really what we would very, very much like, because these are not for us; these are for everyone around. So the more people participate in defining their interface before we have to make it a little bit more set in stone for package authors to actually use them, and then this is the time to still make changes and argue about naming or whatever suits you.
Cool.
Developers love arguing about naming.
Always. Cool. That's great. Again, thanks for the demos. We had two more releases this week from the community perspective as well, and they are one is a list view as well. So maybe it's also something to be extended with web components at some point and replaced with some custom extended ones. Robert Foster released the Umbraco member list view, a new version with dual targeting for Umbraco 8 and 9. So a custom and really nice extended list of members to be used in Umbraco projects. And second one was about media from umbraCare team, and this time an additional protection from deleting medias which are in use in another places of Umbraco installation. So using first of all relations, Nexu, and all the relations stored already for the media items, and protecting medias from being deleted if they are somewhere on the site. So really cool stuff. And umbraCare team is on fire with releasing new packages every week right now. So yeah, if you are looking for some features like that, just check it out and install it, and yeah, play with it. And quickly, couple last things on the link. One was about the storybook and Figma. I found it. I will share it. I will pass it to you how to extend it. So yeah, it's there. But naming, Sebastian is looking for help. How the Discord hacking sessions can be named. So yeah, developers, Umbraco community, everyone help to name the Discord streams. But yeah, if you haven't participated yet as well, every Thursday, 13 Central European time, hacking happens there, and you can join Sebastian and all the community, other community members, and hack together.
I'm yet to join one of these because I'm not a user of the Discord server. But yesterday I did get to witness Sebastian doing this hacking session live, and I think Paul Seal was there and Lottie were there, and they were discussing some really. It was really interesting just to hear the kind of discussions that go on behind a change being made. And there was a chat about some database column and how it's in this format now, but it can't be in that format for V9 and blah, blah, blah. And incredibly interesting just to sit and listen to as well. So tune in if you can.
Yeah, as a Discord newbie, I tried to join once again as well, but I didn't. I didn't know how to enable my sound yesterday when Paul was streaming something. So yeah, maybe next time I will. I wanted to say hi, but I didn't know how to say hi there. So next time, yeah, probably, or hold to speak, something like that. Yeah, tap to speak. A lot of new things. And there was a new profile announced for this month, for November, and this is Ibrahim Nada. So if you want to learn more about Ibrahim and his involvement to Umbraco, I remember Ibrahim's activity from various groups on Facebook and LinkedIn as well, and it might be a new profile. Ibrahim has only 2 followers on Twitter, so I think it just proves that we can fix it. Learn more about his involvement in the community and how he works with Umbraco in general. I was the second one, so yeah. And last but not least, AmpHost, a service which served the Umbraco hosting, received a new website last week, but there is a call for the community help, especially in US area, because there is a new US hosting area to deal with Umbraco hosting, and Aaron, who is behind the project, asked for help in US locations to help and break it there. So if anyone wants to try new hosting and alternative hosting for Umbraco, check it out and help breaking things in the hosting space. As a networking newbie again. Yeah, of course, it's awesome. Of course, if you will have a Polish opportunity to break something, I'm up for it. I will break things. But yeah, call for help is out there on Twitter, and we'll link the link for umbraCoffee video as well. And that's all. That's all from the list of news. So yeah, do you want to add anything? Callum, Rune, Mats, Julia, anything else? Any more call to actions?
No.
Callum, when are you coming back from Denmark?
I'm back on Sunday night, so I'll be home, and then busy weeks. We forgot something. Events, upcoming events. Maybe let's finish with that, right? We have 2 meetups. I want to open my notes, which I closed. So yeah, I won't open notes. There is a Manchester meetup next week on November 16th, if I remember correctly. And the one is also November 18th. All of them are on the meetup.com Umbraco account. And there is an Umbraco Together in 2 weeks from now on, right? 2 weeks today is Umbraco Together, yeah. And if you haven't bought your ticket, please do. Yeah, it would really help.
And it's kind of a what do you say, spread out?
Yeah, distributed event.
Yeah.
So so keep it local. Stick with your local community. Buy tickets.
Yeah, and where is it? London,
Manchester, Bristol, Glasgow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool. Very exciting. And then there's also a Dutch festival coming up. I mean, it's still a ways away, but
December 20th, and tickets are available now. You can go on DF21NL.
First speakers up as well.
Yep.
So yeah, if there's someone who was excited same as I was yesterday, watching people meeting together in the same rooms and attending Umbraco events, just go there and check out the nearest event for yourself, even in this year, and just attend them. That's probably going back on track with the Umbraco community spirit, and we are looking for more. You've mentioned some of the upcoming events in the Umbraco in the next quarter or year. So yeah, definitely there will be more announcements about it soon. So yeah, thank you very much again for joining us today. Enjoyed the time in Denmark, Callum, and hopefully we'll see each other and everyone else watching on the next week.
I have one more shout out.
Come on.
We still have an open RFC for the back office API, the new extension API, which ties very well together with the UI library. So this is actually what will, you could say, power the UI library with data. It's going to be the new service layer for the back office, and there's a great discussion going on there right now. But we'd love to get all the feedback and input on it. We can. It'll be up for a couple of weeks more, but definitely get your input in as soon as possible so we can make adjustments to the RFC if needed.
Great. It's good that the front end team completely forgot about that. And
you are library now.
Too many exciting things.
front end, and then there's a backend, right? There's a backend worry. But yeah, let's shape it up. I also forgot about it, and we've mentioned it a couple weeks ago. Yeah, there is still a time to contribute, and yeah, we'll dig the link out and place it on the description. So yeah, let's hope we'll all argue a lot and get some nice takeaways and conclusions at the end there. Cool. So yeah, have a good rest of the day and the weekend, and see you all next Friday.
Thanks for stopping by.
Have fun.
Thanks for having me. See ya.
Thanks, Julia.